And so welcome to this session. It's a focus on the heart and the hips today. So let's just take a moment to arrive. So finding a comfortable seat. You may want to take a block or a cushion to pop under the seating bones, just to raise up the hips a little bit more, just to allow there to be space. Sometimes it feels as if we may kind of roll backwards as we're sitting in a cross-legged position. Knowing that also kneeling is fine, lying down is absolutely fine as well. So just taking a moment to set up, feeling the spine long, having a wriggle of the shoulders. And then allowing the eyes to come closed if that feels comfortable. If not, just kind of softly gazing so you can still see the outlines of the shapes, but the eyes aren't fully closed. Let's talk about being clothed. So just allowing the eyes to come closed. Or if that doesn't feel so comfortable today, just allowing the eyes to be softly open so we can see kind of blurry outlines of shapes, but we're not fully closing the eyes. And then let's just arrive. Feeling the air moving in and out of the body. If it feels all right, breathing through the nose. Allowing the tongue to rest on the roof of the mouth, the jaw to be soft. Maybe even do a little yawn. Oh, just to soften through that jaw. If the nose is congested, then breathing through the mouth is absolutely fine. And then just watching the breath, not trying to make it do anything. Just letting it do its thing. Watching the breath move in and move out of the body. And then bringing awareness to the whole of the body. Feel the body seated or lying down. Feel the sensation of the clothing on the skin. The weight of the body pressing into the earth. The earth pressing back up into the body. Become aware of the sounds we can hear. Not trying to strain for any sounds, but just noticing what sounds travel along, coming into our awareness. And noticing that each sound has its own texture, its loudness. And each sound has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Expanding awareness further, going beyond the room that we're sat in, becoming aware of the oceans, the seas, the mountains, the rivers, the forests, aware of all the natural life spread over the earth. Deep in the soils and the seas, high up in the trees and the sky. We're aware of these cycles of life. We're aware of the ever-changing weather patterns. We're aware of the aliveness that's around us. We're aware of our connection to that aliveness. And then allow that aliveness of the whole of the natural world to echo back into every cell in your body. Allow the heart to expand as it receives this connection, this awareness of the aliveness in the world and the aliveness in our bodies. Allowing it to glow. And then gathering awareness again. Feeling the seat beneath us. Be aware of the room in which you're sat and your space in that room. Become aware again of the breath. And then gently deepening the breath. So just allowing more breath to come into the body. Allowing the ribs to widen at the sides. Perhaps allowing the lowest ribs to flare a little. Giving more space for the diaphragm to move down. And as we breathe out, it's as if it all relaxes and the air moves on its way. So just going in your own rhythm, exploring with how this air can grow the lungs, the body. And when we let go and this air moves out, just noticing that sensation too. And then taking in a big breath in, let it go with a sigh. One more time, big breath in, let it go with a sigh. Last one, big breath as if we fill up the whole of the body. Let it go with a sigh. Coming back to the natural breath, bowing the head forwards. So we allow the eyes to open towards the ground. If we're in a lying down position, just gently let the eyes open, looking up towards the sky or the ceiling. And then, when you feel ready, gently raising up the head. Coming back into this space. So just taking a moment now to circle through the shoulders, feeling that movement in the shoulders, making it a little larger. And stretching through the whole of the hands and the arms. Coming back the other way. And coming to settle. Just take a little turn to one side, little twist. Coming over to the other side, another little twist. And so I'd like to do a pranayama, a breathing exercise. This is Anuloma Viloma. And so this is where we take an inhale, but we do it in 3 parts. So we breathe in, kind of a third of the way, and we hold it for about 5 seconds. And we breathe in a little bit more, kind of the second third, hold it again. And then finally breathe in to fill up the lungs, and we hold it again for about 5 seconds. And then we do a long exhale. At the bottom of that exhale, we hold again and we repeat again. And we'll do that 3 times. Okay, so if you feel lightheaded at all, just gently coming back to the natural breath. If you've got a cold or there's asthma, just being really mindful if anything is kind of feeling aggravating. If it is, just coming back to the natural breath. Okay, just listening to our body. Okay, just because it's instructed on here doesn't mean that you have to do it. Okay, so the idea of this breathing technique is to give space in the lungs. It's really stretching the lungs capacity and our capacity to hold the breath as well, which is really useful in terms of how the air gets into the body and how the air responds to needing more air over a longer period. So let's begin. Let's take a big breath in. Let it go. And then let's start to breathe in a third of the way. Hold. Breathe in a little more. Then breathe in to fill up the lungs. and hold. Then a full exhale through nose or mouth. Nose is probably easier. And hold. Breathing in a third. Hold. Breathing in another third. And hold. Another third, filling to the top. As much breath as we can squeeze in. And hold. And a long exhale through the nose. And at the bottom of that, we hold. Breathe in a third. Hold. Breathe in another third. Hold. And then fill up the rest of the lungs. And hold. Long exhale. And just come back to the natural breath. And so we'll do a very similar technique, the Viloma Krama, which is where we do the opposite. So we'll do a big inhale and then we'll exhale in 3 segments with holds in between. So let's prepare, let's take a breath in, breath out. And then let's take a long inhalation and hold. Let out a little bit of the air and hold. Let out a little more and hold. And then let out the last bit of air. And don't worry if there's only a little bit left. Squeeze out the last bit and hold. Then allow this big inhalation through the nose if possible. And at the top, hold. Release about a third and hold. Release another third and hold. And fully exhale. Let it all out. And hold. We've got one more. Big inhalation in. Hold at the top. Let out about a third and hold. Release another third and hold. And breathe out the rest of that air in the lungs and hold. Then allow that inhale to spontaneously come and return back to the natural breath. Just rest here for a moment, just breathing naturally, feeling the air moving in and moving out, feeling the space perhaps in the heart and in the lungs. So again, just take a moment to move, maybe raising up the right hand, just a little side bend. Keeping both seating bones pressing down, coming over to the other side. Going back to centre. If you've been sat on a block, just releasing that block away. And so for this next manoeuvre, you can do it kind of as slowly or as quickly as you like, just listening to your own body. Let's bring both hands down to the left-hand side. And we're bending the arms a little. The kind of the back buttock might roll up, so we go to the side of the hips a little bit. We're bending the elbows and then we're pressing down into the ground, so we're really feeling that connection with the hands on the ground. And we're pressing up, springing the arms up. If it's painful on the shoulders, come along to the sides, hands come back down, and we kind of almost like slap, land. So breathe in, stretch up, out, land. Breathing in, stretch up, out, land. And just going in a few more, just feeling away this kind of slow motion falling where we catch ourselves and we spring back up. One more. Okay, then coming along, let's go to 4-point kneeling. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And then let's just, leading from the tailbone, allow the tailbone to lift, the belly drops, the heart and head lift up. Breathing in. As we breathe out, tailbone comes down, back arches up, head drops. And breathing in, tailbone up, lifting through the heart and head. Breathing out, lowering back down the other way, and then coming all the way down to child's pose. We can rest the head on the ground or maybe stacking the head on the hands. Just breathing here, breathing into the back of the body. And then let's come up to 4-point kneeling again. Let's stretch away the right fingers, the left toes, and drawing the navel towards the spine. And then if it feels comfortable, we can float up the arm and the leg, and we're holding. And we stretch away as we breathe in. As we breathe out, we bring our elbow to our knee underneath the body. Breathing in, float away. Breathing out, elbow to knee. One more. Elbow to knee. And send them out again, and starting to make little circles with the hand, with the arm, with the leg. And then make these as small as we possibly can, as if we can hardly see these movements, and then make them really quite big. And this is where I lose my coordination as we go one hand, the arm in one direction, and the foot in the opposite direction. So leg going one way, arm going the other way, in these big circles, and switch to the other direction. And then release down. Take a moment just to move through the wrist, particularly supporting the one that you've been leaning on. Then we'll come to the other side. So this time stretch away the left fingers, the right toes. Again, get this stretch as if someone's pulling your hand, someone's pulling your foot. Draw the navel into the spine so we're feeling connected from the fingertips all the way down to the feet through the core part of the body. And we float up the arm and hands. We breathe in, stretch away a bit further. Breathing out, elbow to knee. Breathing in, stretch away. Breathing out, elbow to knee. One more. Elbow to knee. So stretching away, and again we're going to make those circles, almost little teeny tiny circles with the whole of the arm, so the movement comes from the shoulder and the whole of the leg. If it's too much on the shoulder, keeping the shoulder down, or we can kind of just hold the shoulder in kind of little manoeuvres without the arm away. And then we're making those circles bigger, coming in the other direction, and then we're doing the arm in one direction, and let me think about it, and the leg in the opposite direction. And then switching, and then coming back down, moving into child's. Give wide knees, big toes together, sitting down, stretching the arms up above the head if it's comfortable, or if not, head on the fists here. Taking a moment here, breathing into the lower back. And coming back to 4-point kneeling, walk the hands forward a little bit more, tuck the toes under to downward dog. And just wiggling around in downward dog here, pedaling the feet one at a time down, maybe swinging from the hips from side to side, almost just kind of novel movements coming into the body. Just working in any way that feels right. And then coming to stillness. Allowing the heels to move down towards the ground. It doesn't matter if they don't get there. It's all just about where the energy's going. 3 breaths. And then dropping the knees down. thighs are kind of perpendicular to the ground as we move down onto the forearms. We're allowing the heart to sink here. So the buttocks are kind of sticking up, the legs staying perpendicular. We're dropping the lower back down, dropping the heart down. We're on the forearms. And maybe we walk the forearms forward a little bit, just being really mindful of the shoulders. We don't really want to put loads of pressure through the shoulders. And we can gently allow the heart to melt towards the ground a little. Just being really gentle. So it's kind of the melting heart, but not going all the way, just to protect those shoulders a little. Coming back up, back into downward dog. And then dropping down onto the forearms in downward dog. Coming back onto the arms. Walking the hands to the feet. And then dangling for a moment. But allowing the head to hang heavy, folding the arms, dangling down. Then walking the hands forward back to downward dog. And this time dropping the knees down, hands up. Right, put my teeth in, left hand in the centre, then breathing in as we lift up the left hand, shining up through the heart here, looking up to the sky, breathing out, threading through. And again, breathing in, stretch up, out, threading through. One more, and threading through. Pausing here. If the arm reaches down to the ground, maybe the face reaches down to the ground, then rest there. If it's hovering, that's fine too. If it is resting, maybe you want to stretch out the right hand up above your head onto the fingertips. Only if this adds anything though, only if it's comfortable to do so. Coming back to centre, bringing the left hand to centre, and then let's breathe in as we stretch up with that right hand, breathing out, threading through. Breathing in, stretching up, and out, threading through. One last time, and threading through. And pausing here again. If we want to extend that left arm, we can. Coming up onto the fingertips. Again, breathing, noticing where the breath is going. Almost as if we're trying to bring a bit of space into the heart just now. So breathe into the chest, the middle part of the lungs. Breathe into the belly, if you like. Feel the expansion. And then coming back to centre. I'm just going to turn to the side here so it's easier to see. But we're in a high kneeling position. Okay, let's bring the right foot out to the side. And then we're going to drop the right hand down to the side. Okay, so we've got foot, knee, hand all in one position. But we're raising up the foot. So that right foot is lifted. We can bring up the arm if we want or rest the hand on the hips. And then we're starting to make circles. So we're bringing the toes towards us, we're leading with the heel, and we're making circles. We're lifting as high as we can, and we're making circles there. So we're forward, back, circles. Keep going. And coming back the other way. If there's a bit of shaking, that's great. Lovely. And releasing down, drop that leg back down, coming up, and we're sliding the right hand down the leg, doing a little side stretch here. Coming back to centre, bring the knees together, and bring the other leg out to the side. Pushing forwards with the hips. And we can bring that right hand down, floating up with that left leg. We can stretch the other hand up to the sky or have it on the hips, leading from the heel, bringing the toes towards us as we make some circles here. Leading with that heel. You might notice one side feels a little bit more difficult than the other. I know this is my more tricky side because of previous injury and things. And then coming the other way. But if you do have a side that feels kind of a lot more difficult, maybe worth just pausing the video for a moment and just doing an extra set of these circles. And then dropping that foot down, lifting up, sliding the hand down, little side bend here. Coming back to centre. Let's bring the feet in front of the body. Bending up the left leg. And the foot can be on the inside of the knee, might go on the outside of the knee. You may want to bend this straight leg, bringing the outside of the foot to the outside of the hip. If you find that both seating bones are not fully equally in contact with the ground, that maybe you straighten that leg out again, because you need both seating bones grounded, because you want a stable base, because we're going to twist. So reaching the left hand behind, stretching the right hand up to the ceiling, and then bending the elbow and hooking the elbow at the side of the outer thigh. Now palm can be up, or maybe the arm is straight. And then we can twist. May want to look behind us if that's comfortable, but we're not forcing too much. We're allowing the breath to do the movement. Okay, so as we breathe in, we're elongating through the spine. As we breathe out, we can twist a little more, and it might be very, very subtle, maybe kind of hardly any body movement, but it's that kind of energetic, the freedom to twist. And just to bear in mind, if you've got if the leg is straight, then bringing the toes up towards you to activate that leg to keep it that stable base. So let's do a few more breaths. As we breathe in, we're growing tall with the spine. And as we breathe out, we can twist a little more. Let's do one more breath. And releasing down. Coming back to centre, releasing both legs, have a little wriggle, maybe a massage of the knees. And then let's go to the other side. So let's bend up the right knee this time. Again, foot can be on the inside of the leg. If you can, put it to the outside edge of the leg. And with this straight leg, again, it can be straight, or maybe we bend it, the toes tucked out to the side. If both seating bones are on the ground, we sit up tall. We reach around with the right hand behind us. So just to show you from behind, kind of we're going with the hand like this. So we're behind, we're stretching up with the other arm, bend the elbow. And again, as we breathe in, we're getting this sense of elongation through the spine. As we breathe out, we can twist a little more. It may be very subtle. So allowing the breath to do the movement, allowing the pelvis to sink, connect to the ground. One more breath. Let it go through the mouth. Coming back to centre. And coming back up into a kneeling position. Bring the feet a little bit wider. Bring the feet, knees a little wider. Bring the feet out to the side. And then, if this feels horrible on the ankles, we can tuck the toes under. Okay, if it feels horrible on the ankles or on the knees, tuck the toes under. But if not, bring the feet out to the side. And then we're going to move, bring the hands down to the ground, and we're sitting back with the buttocks. We're not trying to necessarily reach the ground. If I go sideways, you can perhaps see a little better. We're sitting back. We're moving ourselves back as if we were going to sit the buttocks down. We stay here. Maybe we rest on the forearms, allowing this kind of backward movement of the hips. That's fine. Maybe the knees want to go a little bit wider to get that kind of inner thigh stretch a little bit more. Just have a little micro adjustment. See, feel in there. And then letting the belly kind of drop down, looking up with the heart. So the heart is raising up so we can come onto the hands now. So we've got the hips kind of in situ, and then we're allowing the heart to shine a little bit here. And breathing. If there's any lower back pain here, come back to a more neutral position. got 3 more breaths. And then using the hands to walk up, toes tuck under, bring the knees together. Take me a moment to just tuck the toes under, sitting up tall. So I'm going to interlace the hands behind the back. I'm sideways here. So stretching the fingertips, the knuckles, so they go towards the heels, bringing the arms away from the back, lifting up with the heart, and we can bring the head back only as far as it's comfortable on the neck. So we're getting this real, if I move sideways, you can see a little better, this real stretch through the front of the body here. When we're breathing. And coming back to centre. And then we're stretching the hands behind again. We're sitting back onto the heels, bringing the head down towards the ground, stretching the arms up above the head. And breathing. And coming all the way back up again to high kneeling. And then moving the hands over to the left, side bend to the right. Still breathing. Back to centre and to the other side. Releasing off. Then let's make our way down to lying on our fronts. Bringing hands underneath the shoulders. Bringing the feet down to the ground. Pressing the big toes into the mat. Press the pubic bone into the mat so the whole of the legs are activated, so the legs are our foundation. And then hands underneath the shoulders, squeezing the elbows towards each other. And then as we breathe in, let's float up a little with the torso. Breathing out, lower down. And breathing in, lift a little more. Breathing out, back down. One more. And back down. Now bring the legs a little wider, so they're wider than the mat. And then again, strong legs as we breathe in, float the torso up. And we're pausing here in our King Cobra. And then gently lowering down. Bringing the the right knee towards the nose. Bring the left side of the face to the ground. Arms can be anywhere that's comfortable. Just taking a moment there. Let the body feel heavy, particularly the hips. Allow them to be heavy. And then releasing that leg down. Move the other side of the face to the floor. And then lifting that left knee to the side. And again, let the hips be heavy. And then release that leg down. And then bending the right heel towards the buttock. And we're catching either the trouser leg or the ankle or the top of the foot of the hand. And then supporting ourselves at the front of the body, we're kicking away with that foot. As we do, it lifts up the torso a little. And so we're getting kind of these counter forces. We're kicking away into our hand or against kind of the trouser leg. And we're finding the space here. So the heart lifts, the leg kicks, and we find space. And we release. Have a wriggle in the middle, and then go to the other side. So holding again, the top of the foot if possible, if not the ankle or the trouser leg. And we're kicking away. As we kick, this allows the torso to lift up a little. Feeling those counter forces, feeling the power of the body as we do this. And we lower it down. If that feels a little strong on the lower back, then just doing a couple more rounds of very gentle kind of baby cobras, moving up and moving down, not going into any pain. If you want to take the bow variation a little bit further, we can catch both toes both sets of toes in our hands. It's almost as if our toes come into our wrist, the inside of our wrist. We hold the foot and then we kick. We're kicking away as if we're trying to straighten our legs. As we do, it lifts our heart up. Maybe our thighs raise up as well. But only go as far as where you can still breathe. So don't force it. Getting this balance between steadiness and ease. Sthira Sukha. Steadiness and ease. Still being able to breathe. Feeling the stretch. Feeling the opening in the body. And gently lowering down. Resting the head on the hands. Bringing the feet wide. Let the heels fall in. The toes are pointing out. Letting go of any muscular effort that we can. And then rolling over, coming to our back, bending our knees, and then pressing the lower back into the mat. As we do, the buttocks start to lift, so squeeze the buttocks, lifting up the buttocks as we peel up through each vertebrae of the back. And then we've got knees, hips, shoulders, all kind of in one line. We're really kind of pressing down with our feet, lifting the hips. And then interlacing the hands underneath the hips, walking the shoulders towards each other, and almost bringing the heart towards the chin a little bit. We're lifting the hips. Pressing into our arms, feeling the space, and so we can still breathe. Even weight between both feet, maybe even wiggle the toes a little bit. Feel the space that we're creating in our body. And amazing how we can have the counterforce of the ground that we're pressing into that allows a bit more space to come. And then lowering down, release the arms, broadening those shoulders, and lowering down one vertebrae at a time, slowly down. And then draw the knees into the chest and rock from side to side. Maybe we rock forwards and back. So kind of a dynamic back massage here. I'm going to roll up and just massaging through the back. Come to stillness again, let the knees come out to the side, pop soles of the feet together, rest the hands on the belly. Allow the heart rate to normalise, or allow the breath to be steady. And so we're going to do a shoulder stand. I'm going to do a variation of the shoulder stand called Shavasana. I'm going to demonstrate this first and then you can go ahead. If shoulder stand is not in your practice and you've never done it before, then please don't do it this time, okay? Wait for an opportunity to practice with somebody first, but you take the bridge again. Okay, if shoulder stand is in your practice and you're confident and there's no neck pain, then we can go ahead. Okay, so moving into a shoulder stand. And so we can bring the knees into the chest, hands at the side of the body, and we're lifting up, bringing the hands to the back of the hips. We can walk the elbows a little bit closer in, feet are high in the sky. But what we do want to check here is that the space between the chin and the chest, the neck doesn't feel constricted in any way at all. And we can freely move. Don't bend the neck at all. Okay, and so just so you can see, and we'll next for our Shavasana, we will move down into the plough position. So extending through the arms, interlace the hands, toes come down to the ground. We're lifting up with the hips. And then we bend the knees and we're bringing the knee to either side of the ear. So we're almost stopping the sound a little bit by bringing the knees to the ear. Toes are tucked under. Okay, so going ahead, going into the shoulder stand, and then moving down into the plough. So straight legs down, toes tucked under, arms extended behind, interlaced hands. So we're using the power of the arms pressing into the mat to help have this lift in the body. And then we're bending the knees. Knees go either side of the head, toes are still tucked under. And we're still pressing down with the hands. And again, we don't want any discomfort in the neck.
And again, we're breathing. If there's any discomfort in the lower ribs at all, then we can take the plough instead. If this also feels a little bit too constricted, then come back to the shoulder stand. And then when it's time to move out, keeping the hands on the ground, let's slowly lower down through the spine as if we're pressing one vertebrae at a time into the mat, going really, really slowly. So kind of when you're halfway, your thighs are going to be kind of over your chest, and you're slowly, slowly, slowly lowering down. Trying not to lie in a microphone. Lower down, bring the feet down to the mat. Pausing there for a moment, lying on our backs, knees bent. Breathing fully. And then we can lift up the hips, placing the palms down, tops of the hands underneath the buttocks in kind of like a V shape. And then we can lift up with the back, walk the elbows in a little more, so we're on our forearms. Stretch away the feet, activating through the feet, pointing the toes, and then we can stretch back with the head. This may be enough. You may want to bring the top of the head, the crown of the head, towards the ground. So just working out, depending on how long your arms are, you may want to walk your hands further down your body, maybe towards your thighs. So there's still a bend in the arms, so you're taking the weight on the forearms. And then we're pressing the crown of the head into the mat, into our fish pose. There should be quite an opening on the front of the neck here. But again, any neck conditions, just settling down. Don't go into the kind of more extreme variation. Having the head on the back, just with a slight lift of the chest, is sufficient. And when we're ready to come out, keeping the head back, sliding, bending the knees to slide the buttocks towards the fingers, keeping the shoulders up towards the ears. We then start to come up using our arms, coming onto our hands, supporting the head. And then finally, once the torso is upright, we can release the shoulders and bring the head back to center. So last of all is the head. Is the head coming back to center? Okay, so let's take a moment now. So you'll need to be by a wall, or you can be by a chair, like a settee, sofa. So if you're by a wall, sitting sideways to the wall, and then lie on our back, swinging our legs up. And so the buttocks are towards the wall, and our legs can rest up the wall. So this is the legs up the wall pose, arms to the sides as if in Shavasana. If you don't have a wall, then you'd be, imagine I have a settee here, my thighs are resting on the settee. So you want the thighs to be perpendicular, so the weight of the legs is moving into the pelvis, and then the calves are resting. Okay, so trying to have right angles as much as possible, maybe getting an extra cushion to pad it out. Or a wall is fine, going up against a door, just making sure the door is closed properly. Arms out to the side. Let's just rest here. Feeling the weight of the legs moving down into the pelvis. And in turn, feeling the weight of the pelvis being held by the earth. Just allow the legs to feel heavy. It's almost as with every breath out, they become a little heavier. And then gently bringing the knees into the chest, rolling over onto the left, using the hand to come up. Okay, so got one last posture and then we're going to move into our final Shavasana. So let's lie down on our backs, feet are wide, let the knees fall over, to the right. And then we're adjusting slightly, so we're wanting right angles again. So this front leg comes up, so the hip is at a right angle to the body, and then the knee is also at a right angle in both the front and the back legs. The arms come out to the side, and we bring the hands up, and then with the left hand, we bring that hand down to the ground, the palm down. With the right hand, we bring the back of the hand down to the mat. And as much as possible, allow the muscles to soften. So particularly the buttock muscles, allow them to let go. It might change the shape slightly, that's absolutely fine. And take a big breath in, big breath out. Big breath in, big breath out. One last time. Breath out. And lift the knees up to the side and let the knees fall over to the left this time. So again, just checking you've got those right angles. And then we'll switch the hands. So the left back of the hand comes to the ground, the right palm comes down. And again, letting the muscles soften as much as possible, and it might change the shape. That's fine. Feeling the breath, feeling the softening. Take a big breath in. Let it go. Then bring the knees back to centre, bring the arms back to centre, draw the knees into the chest, hug the knees in, rocking gently from side to side, maybe making circles. And we can take the happy baby pose, or we can stick to kind of hugging the knees into the chest. For the happy baby, bring the knees wide. Bring the soles of the feet towards the ceiling, knees are bent. We hold onto the inside of the knee, inside of the calf, or we hook the first and second finger around the big toe, pressing into the top of the big toe with the thumb. Our elbows help to keep the knees wide. As much as possible, we have our sacral area, that's in contact with the ground. If it floats up a little bit, don't worry too much, but just that sense of it moving down towards the ground. And we can rock to start, just a little massage, and then coming to stillness. Allowing the legs to be heavy. Feeling the breath. And then when we're ready, release those legs down and we'll move into Shavasana. So taking the time to get any warm things, any socks, blankets you might want in this moment. And then bringing the legs wide, letting the feet loll out, hands up facing the sky. And we can allow the eyes to come closed. If that doesn't feel very welcome in this moment, then the eyes can be open. Always your choice. If there's any lower back pain, just bending up the knees. And then bringing awareness to the breath. As we did at the beginning, not trying to change the breath, just observing. Breath rolling in, breath rolling out. And as we breathe in, imagine that we're breathing in a healing light. And this light, it travels down to the very tips of our toes. Every breath in, it travels, filling up the whole of the body. From the toes, the ankles, the legs. And it fills up the fingers, the elbows, the whole of the arms. It fills up the pelvis, the abdomen, the chest, the back, shoulders. It fills up the neck, the head, the face. Allow this fresh, new energy, this healing light to wind its way to every single cell in the body. In the dark bits, the neglected bits, the painful bits. Swirling around. Giving energy to every cell. Maybe imagined, maybe a little bit real. Feeling as if every single cell in the body is vibrating with this new energy. Every cell vibrating at the potential. As if every single cell is emanating light from it, that it shines back into the world and receives the light from the world. Just notice the body. And take a big breath in. Big breath out through the mouth. So we can blow away what doesn't serve us in this moment. Take a big breath in. Blow it away. And one last time, big breath in. Fill up the heart with this new breath. Blow it away. And then wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Be aware of the ground beneath us, maybe tapping the ground with the fingertips. Feeling the solidity, the solid, the holding quality of the earth. And then bending the knees. Rolling over to the right-hand side, supporting the head where necessary. And just take a moment here. Check in with the body, with the mind. On any given day, it might be pleasant, it might be unpleasant, it might be neutral. Just taking the moment to have the space to hold it all. Whichever manifestation of being human holds in this moment, just allow it. And then if the eyes are still closed, gently open the eyes. And keeping the head still, moving the eyes around the room. Making circles, perhaps, one way, then the other. And then when we feel ready, let's make our way back to a seated position. And so, as we draw this practice to a close, I invite you to join me in making the sound Om just one time. So let's prepare, take a breath in, big breath out, big breath in. Bringing hands together at heart center. I'd like to thank you for joining me in practice today. The light in me shines to the light in you. Namaste.